Climate Week New York City unites leaders from across industries to accelerate solutions for a sustainable future. Acumen's Climate Week interviews shine a spotlight on industry leaders and show how businesses can inspire action, drive innovation, and help shape a resilient, sustainable, and low-carbon future. The built environment is central to how we live, work, and thrive, and getting it right means more than just saving energy. With the right materials and design, buildings can cut emissions, improve health, reduce dependence on imported energy, and strengthen resilience across society. Founded in Denmark almost 90 years ago, ROCKWOOL is the global leader in stone wool, transforming volcanic rock into durable solutions for insulation, facades, acoustics, and horticulture with 12,700 employees across 38 countries. To explore this vision, we're speaking with CEO Jesmung Hansen, who will explain how ROCKWOOL's circular, energy-efficient solutions enable modern buildings and infrastructure to deliver multiple social, economic, and environmental benefits, strengthening resilience in communities and across society.
You try to bring all these input and perspectives into a bigger picture, both what we as a company can do to support the entire agenda, but also how we can help others and maybe reaching out to new stakeholders that we haven't worked with before, because that's simply now part of being a strong economy. So.
Thank you. I understand that you've been here since Sunday for Climate Week.
Yes, we arrived late Sunday and have had meetings and engagements throughout the last 2.5 days.
And I assume they've been productive?
It's been very productive, also very condensed, many engagements and many meetings in a very short time.
ROCKWOOL is built on the idea of releasing the natural power of stone. Tell me about the company, how this purpose came to light, and I want to hear all about the work that you do today.
ROCKWOOL is a global and very large manufacturer of building materials, and we're most known for our insulation materials, so insulating buildings. And as the name suggests, we take rock, we take stone, and we melt it in a very industrialized, very high temperature process, and then we spin wool out of the stone, out of the lava. So it is literally the name of ROCKWOOL is to take stone and turn it into an insulation material that then fits in to whether it's new buildings or renovations of buildings.
Why is climate action such a critical focus for ROCKWOOL, as a company?
The buildings that we live in, and New York is a fantastic example of it, is one of the places we spend most of our time. Actually, we almost spend 90% of our time in buildings. So the buildings have a huge and profound impact on how you feel, how you whether or not it's the sound or the temperature or the moisture content of the air, the humidity, are very, very important to us as human beings. Buildings, unfortunately, are also a huge consumer and emitter of energy, and with energy also CO2, which is the main issue when it comes to climate. Buildings actually generate around 40% of all the CO2 that mankind generates. So being here at the Climate Week, where we talk about the climate, buildings have a very, very big contribution both to the issue at hand, but also to solving it. And we're here as ROCKWOOL to show how you can use stone wool to insulate buildings and reduce that footprint dramatically.
The EU Energy Performance of Buildings Directive set some ambitious targets for improving efficiency over the next decade. How do you see this kind of policy shaping resilience in this kind of practice?
Yeah, it's true. The Brussels, the EU has set out some very strong targets for the EU members. It is, by the way, also targets we see in other countries. But EU is a great example of some policies that aim to reduce the footprint of buildings dramatically. There's a row of reasons why the EU has done this. One, and the most important, is of course to reduce the footprint on our environment and hence be part of positive development in the climate challenges that we have. But there's also a couple of other elements for governments to instill these new policies. Very importantly, when you renovate buildings, you create a lot of jobs. Renovating a building is typically done by small, medium-sized companies. And there's a lot of jobs involved in building, but also renovating buildings. And so that's a major part of it. The economics in Europe is also such that we need to restart the economy and then activating the building mass and funding some of these large projects will be a very important element in restarting the economies of Europe.
Buildings account for about 30% of global energy use and emissions. What role do you see them playing in creating more resilient societies?
First of all, it's a staggering number, isn't it? I mean, 30% of man-made CO2 comes from the buildings that we live in. So our focus is very much on energy efficiency. By using stone wool as insulation materials, whether or not it's new buildings or renovation of existing buildings, we can lower that footprint dramatically. We can actually take out around 80% of the energy consumption when we renovate buildings. So it's a very, very profound contribution that we can make to the total CO2 footprint. And then there's more to it. It's very important also that when we renovate our buildings that we do it with fire-safe products. And New York is actually a fantastic example of a city that has embraced fire safety, almost for the obvious reasons with all the skyscrapers. But stone wool is a product that is fire safe, it's non-combustible. And so when we renovate buildings, it's important that we think resilience into the fire side as well. Last but not least, sooner or later these buildings will be renovated again in the long future. And there we think a lot about circularity, taking our products back. And we are able to take back our stone wool and remelt it in our factories and can actually endlessly reuse our products. So resilience is more than just the footprint. It is about reducing it, it's being safe about it and being able to recycle the material the day that comes.
Beyond the numbers and policies, what does this work mean for people in everyday life?
Yeah, but it is a very tangible thing. I think the emotional side of your house is something we all understand. All the cultures, all languages have sayings like my castle or not in my home kind of thing. So the house you live in, your own space, is something that you have deep feelings for. And seeing that policy, that for many people can be something incredible abstract. It's hard to understand sometimes what government talks about and actions they're taking. But here's taken down to you and I, to people that live in their homes, and it's a very tangible manifestation and something positive that influenced their lives.
Thanks for stopping by for this great conversation.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
The work that ROCKWOOL does highlights that climate action is not abstract policy, but something we experience every day in the places we call home. From safer, more comfortable living spaces to stronger, more resilient communities, the impact is felt in daily life. The company's approach shows that real change comes when innovation and responsibility move together, shaping a future that is both sustainable and human.